One thing, I didn't stay there that long though. I stayed there for about a year because I got an offer to be a director at a company in Princeton, New Jersey. But one thing I did learn there very quickly is that no matter what job is put in front of me, I'm going to do the best job that I can do. You know, this was a couple steps lower than what I did at IBM, but I needed a job and I needed to pay the mortgage. So I stayed there for a year, and I got an offer at this company called Recording for the Blind and Dyslexic in Princeton, New Jersey. And as I was leaving, my boss takes me out to lunch. And we're about ready to part, and he looks over to me, and Barry says to me, he says, "Dennis, I hope someday we have an opportunity to work together again." And I'm thinking, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. I'll probably never see you again. So I went off to Princeton. Not that I did, I loved the guy, he was a great guy. I went to Princeton, New Jersey, and about a year later, I start getting homesick again. I don't know what it is about Columbus, Ohio. Maybe it's the water. Maybe it's the Buckeyes. But something got me coming back here. So I sent out some feelers, and I found out that Barry not only was not working at Bank One, he had left and gone to Colorado, and then he came back and was setting up a project office at American Electric Power. So I called Barry up, and I asked Barry, I said, are you hiring? Are you hiring people? And he said, absolutely. And I said, would you hire me? Absolutely. So I came back, AP paid my way to come back. I'm getting paid more than I got at IBM, doing well, this is great. And that's where I am today. As you saw in the video, I'm still working there. I was at work this morning. I couldn't think of very much after knowing that I was going to come here this afternoon and talk to you folks. So, but everybody was wishing me well. So I'm working at AP now as an IT resource manager. A lot of people have hobbies in their lives. I have a hobby, and you saw it on the screen there. I like wood turning. I've done woodworking for a long time, but in 2004, I decided that I wanted to turn wood. And I went to a little shop. It was a big shop out on the east side of Columbus. And I went and talked to the owner, and I said, I think I'd like to do wood turning. And he says, well, I don't know if you can do that or not. Let's go in the back, and we'll try it out and see if it works for you. And we tried it out, and it looked pretty good. It says, yeah, it looks like something you could do. So he set me up with this little lathe and some tools and a sharpening system, and I went home, and I've been turning and have a passion for turning ever since. Now, just recently, over the last year, I've been writing articles for the Journal of the American Association of Woodturners. And the series of articles is called People Overcoming Challenges. Well, the first article was published this year in spring of 2009 about me. So I hit the microphone, sorry. I just probably blew out somebody's ears. Sorry about that. So the first article was about me and overcoming the challenges. One of the next article to be published is about a gentleman in Richmond, Virginia by the name of Jim Proffitt. Jim is in a wheelchair. Jim had very similar experiences that I did. He was turning pens, he got a lot of success there, but he wanted to go a little bit further, and he wanted a mentor. He wanted a mentor like the STEM program you saw up here. We all need mentors. He wanted a mentor, and nobody wanted to touch him. Nobody wanted near it. Oh, I don't see how you can do it. Oh, I don't like the liability. Oh, you know, maybe you should find something else to do. Read a book. So Jim wasn't going to take that for an answer. He took it on himself. He took that challenge on himself. And he got some videos. He started watching the videos. He went out and practiced some of his cuts. And eventually he got pretty good. But he wasn't sure yet. He didn't have that validation. You need somebody to say, yeah, that looks good. So he was going to a local club meeting, and he saw a presenter there by the name of Mark St. Ledger. Mark, after Mark got done with his presentation, about a week or so later, Jim calls him up and said, I'd like to be able to take lessons from you. Would you be willing to do that? And to Mark's credit, he said, absolutely. As a matter of fact, Mark even rented a wheelchair and tried it out for a while to see what it would be like, which was not necessary, but he was really going the full 9 yards on that one. So they got together, and it went really well, and they're friends ever since, and their mentor-mentee relationship. Jim is so good that at his local chapter meeting, they had a competition with 4 categories. Jim won 2 of those categories and won Best Overall Show. And in 2008, Jim was a guest turner at the National Symposium in Virginia. So Jim's story is very similar to mine. I was making pens, got a little bored. I made about 100 pens, giving them away, selling them, whatever. It was good, and a lot of praise, but I wanted to go to the next level, and nobody wanted to take me on. Until a friend of mine in upstate New York decided that he was willing to show me how to turn a bowl. Just the mechanics of the bowl. So I went to upstate New York, and we visited with our friends in Endicott, New York, where I first started IBM. And he showed me the mechanics of how to turn a bowl. And I turned this bowl, and it was beautiful. At least to me it was. I thought this was the greatest thing in the world. So I went home, and I started turning bowls. And that was good. You know, it was a lot of good work. And you know, we can talk about the mechanics of it later. I still have all my fingers. Look. But I started turning bowls, and then I wanted to go to the next step. I wanted to do something else. So I decided I wanted to turn a pepper mill. There's a couple of pepper mills up on the stage. I hope I'm pointing to the right spot where my turning stuff is. Right there? Off to the left? Okay, well, you guys know where it is. You guys tell me where it is. Okay. So I decided I wanted to turn a pepper mill. So I asked my wife if she'd go to the store and pick up some equipment. You know, you have to get the grinder and some other things. And they knew who I am at the wood store. And they told my wife, she said, Gina, you should discourage Dennis from doing that. It is going to be too frustrating for him to do. And even my friend in New York tells me, he says, I think you should discourage Dennis from doing that. We've been reading the instructions for turning a pepper mill, and it's pretty difficult. So my wife tells me about this. I can't tell the story straight, sorry. She starts telling me about this, and it just pushed me on. Not only was it a challenge to overcome, it emboldened me, it strengthened me. There was no way I wasn't going to turn a pepper mill at that point. So I went on the internet and I looked at the instructions, and I read about them, and I got it all set up, and I went out to the garage, and I turned a pepper mill. It took all weekend, but I did it. Now I belong to a wood turning club, Central Ohio Woodturners, the COW group. And they have about 150 members that go there, and once a month. They have a show and tell. So I figured, well, I'll bring my pepper mill there, and I'll get some comments and some suggestions and give me some idea about what I could do to make it better. So Andy Wolf is the person presenting that night, and she's picking up pieces here and there. And then finally she gets to this pepper mill. And she looks at it, and she says, almost like a surprise. It probably was a surprise. She says, Dennis DeVendra did this. She says, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Dennis is standing over in the side here, and he's blind. He can't see. And this pepper mill is beautiful. So she asked me to describe the pepper mill, and I did that, how I worked on it, and how I finished it, and everything else. And she said, yeah, everybody should come up and look at this pepper mill. It's beautiful. I can't see any problems with this. And so she holds it up, and she says, well, wait a minute. I see right in the light that there's a little catch there. And I'm thinking, touchdown. And I get a standing ovation. And it just turned me on even more. Now, in this year, I joined the German Village Art League. And at that, they had their first Jurd exhibition in May of this year in German Village. And of the 40 artists that were there, I was the only one to sell my work that night. And also, I've been working with a company called Kelton Industries in New Zealand. Kel McNaughton thinks that if a person is blind can use his equipment, then anybody can. So there's a video of me turning a hollowed vessel on that website, and I've been working with him to design some equipment. So, in our lives, we all face challenges. It's not a matter if, it's when. And how are we going to respond to those challenges? The answer is here inside of us. And it's up to you. And hopefully my words today will inspire you not only to take on challenges, but to get strengthened and overcome those challenges, as opposed to those challenges taking you on. And the last thing I want to leave you with is, in our lives, I've found some definitions of different concepts, and one of those is the definition of luck. Luck is opportunity meeting talent. The harder you work, the luckier you get. Thanks very much for your attention.